Hey, I'm Christine. I'm 15, and I have this really weird secret that I've never told anyone. Well, almost. It all started when I was really small. I remember being sick all the time as a kid. Not too serious, really, but something was always off. Sometimes I'd feel completely drained, other times dizzy. My mom took me to so many doctors, but they could never find anything wrong. At some point, my mom told me I had a mental illness and that I needed shots. She said that without them, I'd never be normal. She explained that the shots would protect me from episodes and strange thoughts. I was just a kid and I trusted her. Mom started giving me shots in the morning before I left the house. And strangely enough, I really did start feeling better. Maybe because I believed they were helping. Every now and then, some man would come by our house. He would always ask me,
Christine, how are you feeling? Are you taking your medicine?
Who are you?
I'm your doctor. I'm here to check on you.
And that's how he stayed in my life. His name was Mr. Crawford. Over the years, he became almost like family. I got used to him, and I think he got used to me too. Over time, I started doing the injection myself. Mom trusted me, and eventually she stopped checking. It became almost like brushing my teeth, a simple part of my morning routine. But I never told anyone. I guess I just felt weird. And then one day, everything went wrong. That morning, we didn't have any water at home. Mom was pacing around making calls to the utility company. I overslept, and when I finally got up, she was hurrying me off to school. We totally forgot about the shot. I remember during second period, I ran to the bathroom, grabbed my injector, good thing I had a spare, gave myself the shot, and then Jenny, my classmate, showed up in the doorway. She stared at me like I'd lost my mind. I tried to explain it was just medicine, but it was too late. Before long, the whole class knew about my bathroom ritual. I had no choice but to tell them everything. And that's when it started. From that day on, my classmates treated me differently. Not mean, more like as if I was made of glass. I was about to play volleyball in gym class when one of the guys on the team said,
Christine, you're sick. You should sit on the bench. Don't push yourself.
I love volleyball. And that really hurt. After school, another classmate snatched my backpack.
You shouldn't be carrying heavy stuff.
I'm not some weakling, but everyone was looking at me like I was about to faint. Even Todd, the biggest troublemaker in our school. Seriously, he picked on everyone but not me? Why? Because apparently he felt sorry for me, and that hurt way more than if he'd actually bullied me. I feel like an outcast, all because of those damn injections. Mom, do you think I'm getting better?
No, Christine. If you stop the injections, the seizures and hallucinations will come back, and you'll start having weird thoughts.
I didn't argue, but inside, I was fuming. On top of that, my best friend Erica started firing off a ton of questions. When did it all start? How do you feel after the shot? Do they even help? I tried answering, but the more she asked, the more annoyed I got. One day, Mr. Crawford came by again.
So, Christine, how are you feeling? Are you taking your meds?
I couldn't resist venting a bit. You know, I feel like an outcast. Everyone at school thinks I'm weird now.
Have you ever thought about stopping the injections?
This question seems strange. Mom always said I'd feel worse without the shots. Yeah, maybe I should think about that. In a couple of weeks, my classmates almost drove me over the edge. One girl decided to start a charity for me. Yeah, a real campaign. Someone would do my homework, someone else would carry my backpack home, and another would help me with house chores. I was this close to losing it. I didn't ask anyone to feel sorry for me, and the worst part, they actually thought that would make me happy. That same day, just when I was ready to snap, Erica came up to me. I talked to my dad yesterday. You know he's a doctor. I told him about your symptoms and he said you're completely fine. Honestly, he doesn't see why you'd even need those shots. What? Well, he says that from what you described, it's not even a real illness. Maybe your mom's mistaken? And that's when I made up my mind. The next morning, I didn't do the shot and hid the vial in the desk drawer. That became my new morning routine. The vials kept piling up and I kept shoving them further back so Mom wouldn't find them. Erica knew about that. She had my back. And when that stupid care act started again at school, she snapped in front of everyone.
Enough, you guys! Christine's not sick anymore, so just leave her alone.
And you know, it actually worked. A couple of weeks went by and I felt alive again. I had energy. I even started going for morning runs. I started hanging out with the guys after school, going to parties, and then something happened that turned my world upside down. One morning, when I was out for a run, I met this guy. His name was Miles, and he had this, playful, funny vibe. And yeah, I liked him. We started running together, chatting about everything, favorite music, and how much school cafeterias suck.
Hey, wanna go out Friday? Like, on a date?
Of course I said yes. I told Erica at school, and she was totally thrilled.
Finally, you're starting to live like a normal person.
And then I happened to run into Mr. Crawford on the street.
You seem different. Everything okay?
And for some reason, I just spilled everything to him. That I stopped getting the injections, that I was feeling better, and that I'd met a guy. Please don't tell Mom. He gave me this weird sort of smile, but agreed not to say anything. Friday finally came. Miles and I went to a cafe. He told me he was into graffiti and sometimes painted on walls. That's probably illegal, right?
Yeah, but that's what makes it fun.
We left the cafe and Miles showed me a few of his works. Wow. They were so vivid, so full of life. And then, standing in the rain by one of his graffiti, he leaned in and kissed me. Honestly, it felt like a scene from a movie. But the good times didn't last. A few days later, Mom decided to clean my room, and of course, she discovered my stash of vials.
Are you out of your mind? You're putting your health at risk.
But I feel great. I've even made friends. I went on a date.
You're losing touch with reality. This is really dangerous.
In the end, she went back to giving me shots in the mornings, and once again, I felt different, not like everyone else. At least Erica was there for me.
I feel like your mom is hiding something.
Then, things started getting weird. Miles didn't show up on our runs anymore. At first, I thought he might be sick. I called him, but the message said the number was out of service. And suddenly, my mom's words flashed through my mind.
If you stop the shots, you'll get hallucinations.
I felt anxious. I had to check. I went to that cafe we used to go to with Miles, and I found the waiter. Do you remember me? I was here a week ago on a date with a tall guy.
Sure, I remember. But you were alone.
I froze on the spot. Alone?
Yeah, you were sitting by the window talking to yourself. Then you left.
I rushed out of the cafe and ran straight to the wall where Miles' graffiti had been, but it was gone. And in that moment, I realized all those runs, the conversations, the date, the kiss, it had only happened in my head. I walked home in a daze. It felt like someone had taken a huge chunk of my life away. Mom, I'm sorry. You were right. I shouldn't have stopped doing my injections.
I told you, Christine. It's all for your own safety.
A bit later, Mr. Crawford showed up. I was wrong. I get it now. I do need the injections. I'm doing them again, and I feel fine. He looked at me weird. I don't even know how to explain it, like he was disappointed. The next day at school, Erica caught up with me. I talked to my dad again, and he believes your mom's making things up. Erica, enough! Don't try to convince me I'm normal. I know I'm crazy without my shots. Leave me and my mom alone. My words must have hurt her. She turned around and walked off. Everything went back to how it was before. Classmates wouldn't let me carry my backpack, didn't invite me to parties. I stopped my morning runs, felt tired and empty again. I accepted it. Maybe this was just how it was always going to be. I was not normal. And then, everything changed because of one silly accident. Mom asked me to grab her bag from the closet. I reached for it, it slipped out of my hands and fell to the floor. Things spilled out of it, keys, her makeup bag, and an envelope. Financial assistance for caring for kids with mental health issues? The amount in the check made me gasp. I tried to take the envelope, but Mom yanked it from me and told me not to touch her papers. But seeing my name on it, that stung a bit. In the evening, when Mom went to the store, I snuck into her room and started rummaging through the drawer where she kept the documents. I found a folder with my medical papers, tests, reports, a bunch of terms I didn't understand. The only thing I could make out was my name on them. The next day, I approached Erica. Hey, you were right. Mom's hiding something. Sorry for snapping at you. Will you help me? She softened right away.
Of course, let's do this.
We took all the papers and went to her dad. He read through them slowly, frowning.
According to these documents, you're perfectly healthy, but your mom insisted you had seizures and hallucinations. The medical board didn't bother checking and declared you disabled, and your mom became your guardian.
But if she knew you were fine, why the injections?
Hand me one of those vials. I'll check it myself.
Good thing I always keep a spare in my bag. I handed it over. Erica's dad promised to call as soon as he knew anything. I was headed home, still trying to make sense of it all, and then
Hey, Christine.
I turned around and saw Miles, dressed in an orange jumpsuit, paint roller in hand, painting the wall. You're real?
Of course I'm real. I got busted for graffiti. Court, community service, parents took my phone. That's why I disappeared.
But what happened to the graffiti you showed me?
They forced me to scrub it clean.
I smiled. It was so simple. He wasn't a hallucination. He was a real guy. I need to take care of something first, but we'll definitely catch up later. I ran to the cafe where we had our date and saw the same waiter there. Well, remember now? I was here with the guy. Come on, admit it.
All right. A woman came in. She gave me money and said that if a girl came asking about a date, I was to say she was alone.
I had no doubt left. It was all my mom's doing. I raced home, my blood boiling with anger. I know everything. Miles isn't just some hallucination. We went on a date, and I don't need any injections to be okay. Why are you lying to me? Mom went pale, but before she could say a word, my phone rang. Christine, Dad checked the vial. It's just regular vitamins. They don't do anything to your body. I froze. Mom had heard everything as well. Suddenly, her face hardened. She grabbed my hand and dragged me to my room. You're not going outside anymore. From now on, you're homeschooled. Mom slammed the door and locked it. The windows had bars. She took my phone, and suddenly I was all alone, surrounded by silence. The first couple of days felt like a never-ending Sunday, minus the shows and snacks. Mom only let me leave my room to go to the kitchen and eat. And even then, she didn't take her eyes off me like I was some kind of dangerous criminal. I was holed up in my room, buried in textbooks, not because I really wanted to study, but just to keep myself from going crazy from boredom. Mom had stopped giving me shots, but I knew I was fine. And weirdly, it felt kind of nice. Like I'd won or something, but it was a pretty lame victory because I was still trapped in my room. And then, around the third day, I peeked out of the window. On the wall of the building across the street, there was some graffiti. If you're in trouble, leave a sign. Nobody but Miles would write something like this. My heart skipped a beat. I dashed to my desk, grabbed my notebook with red pages, tore out a few, ripped them up, and stuck them to the window to make a huge sad face. I had been waiting all day, and then Miles showed up. I saw him raise his eyebrows even through the glass. He got the message. The next day, there was a knock at the door. I rushed into the hallway. Miles and Erica were standing there. I almost threw myself at them, but Mom beat me to it. This is private property. Go away. We're here to see Christine. I said, get out, or I'm calling the cops. And Mom shut the door. That was it. But then it hit me. While she was distracted, I grabbed her phone from the table. Mr. Crawford, it's Christine. Help me. The injections. They're fake. Mom's been lying to me. I looked out the window again that evening. Miles was already there, climbing the tree that grew right up against the house.
How are you?
I'm okay. Well, mostly. We chatted like it was the most romantic date in the world, as if the window between us didn't even exist. In the morning, there was a knock at the door. Mom went to answer it, and I heard a man's voice. It was Mr. Crawford, and he had 2 police officers with him.
We received information about possible violations.
Mom went pale and started shouting that it was nonsense, that I was making it all up.
We have reason to believe you received financial assistance you weren't entitled to.
It felt like I'd been hit by lightning. So all of this was just for money? They didn't take Mom away that day, but they did set a court date. I was in shock, but at the same time, I felt a strange sense of relief. A couple of days later, I went back to school. Of course, everyone had already heard the news. Gossip spread faster than lightning. But instead of the usual pitying looks, people treated me normally, even Todd. Yeah, I'd always been healthy. Some of those symptoms were purely in my head. The trial happened a month later. My mom was found guilty. When the judge announced a verdict, I felt like my whole world flips upside down. On the one hand, I felt sorry for Mom. But on the other, she had been robbing me of a normal life. And not because I was sick, but because it was benefiting her.
I've had a hunch for a while that you were perfectly fine, but I didn't have proof. And no, Christine, I'm not a doctor. I work for social services. My job was to check whether your mom was really entitled to the money. And guess what? I finally got to the bottom of it.
In the end, he became my guardian. Not a bad deal, really. Mr. Crawford didn't pry into my life or check on me every 5 minutes, but he never left me completely on my own either. Miles and I started dating. We'd hang out, go skateboarding. Sometimes Erica came along. For the first time in years, I actually felt normal. I understood one thing. Even the ones who are supposed to protect you can lie to get what they want. But if you go looking for the truth, you'll find it in the end. And only you get to decide whether you're normal or not.